In this video, we will look at accidental global variables as a cause for memory leaks and how we can detect them. Hi, I'm Rohan, and this video is part of a series of videos where we are exploring how JS manages its memory in depth. More specifically, looking at various use cases that are the common causes for memory leaks and how we can understand and avoid these types of coding patterns. So, let's get to it. One of the more obvious memory leaks that happen in our code, by mistake perhaps, is accidentally defining global variables where that was not the intended purpose. This type of mistake causes variable leaks from the local to the global scope, especially when we are not in the strict mode. What this means is that variables that should have been removed persist in the memory just because they are in the global scope, causing memory leak. Let's look at a couple of examples. In the first example, we have a function that creates a large object, but we accidentally forgot to declare it, only initialize it. Then we run a big loop and we assign it some key value pairs. After that, we define a function in the local scope that fetches a value from the object based on a key, and we return this function at the end. We call this function and assign the result to a variable. After that, we log a random value by calling retrieve data. Then, to clear the memory, we set retrieve data to null, and our expectation is that the big object will eventually be collected by the garbage collector. But the problem is that big object is in the global scope, and we can check it by logging it, and it will remain in memory till we set it to null. And every time we call create large object, this object will be created again and again. So how do we fix this? First of all, we will add use strict at the top of our code. This way, if we try to run it, it will throw an error. Additionally, we declare the variable, so it's in the local scope, and when we run it, it gives us the correct result. And we cannot access big object from outside, and it's removed from the memory when we set retrieve data to null. In the next example, we slightly tweak the logic so the variable and the function becomes part of this. But the problem is normally calling this function without providing it with a this value defaults it to global, in our case window. Hence big object is part of the global scope, and setting retrieve data to null does nothing, and we can still access big object from outside. So to fix this, we will add use strict at the top so it will throw error when we run it. Then in addition to big object as part of this, bind get data to this or use an arrow function. Anyway, outside, instead of calling it as a normal function, we instead use new keyword to create an object instance. Now retrieve data becomes this, and big object and get data are now part of the object retrieve data. So when we set it to null, they will eventually be removed from the memory. So to sum it up, in order to prevent this type of memory leak, not only should we use strict to run our code in the strict mode, we should also declare our variables, or in case of this keyword, we should create object instance instead of just calling the function. So to quickly summarize, we looked at global variables that are created accidentally as source of memory leaks using a couple of examples, and how we can avoid them if we are careful. In the upcoming video, we will look at closures as potential sources of memory leak. If you have liked this video, consider liking and subscribing. Thank you for your time. Have a nice day. Namaskar.